Caitlyn, there's potentially people out there who don't even know what cystic fibrosis is. How would you explain it?
Majority of people automatically think it's just a lung disease, which it is, but it actually affects all the organs in our body. It's to do with the sodium chloride channels not being the correct amount of each. So it causes a lot of thick, sticky mucus in the body, which then affects all of our organs, but majority lungs and the digestive system.
And when you first got diagnosed, how did that come about and how did it make you feel at the time?
Well, I actually don't even remember because I was diagnosed at birth, which I like to say I feel almost blessed that I was, and I've never known anything else. I've come across people who have been diagnosed a lot later in life, and I just can't imagine in like the flick of a switch, your life would change to then having hospital admissions, medications, doctor's appointments. So yeah, I was born with a bowel blockage due to all the thick, sticky mucus. So I had surgery as a baby and the surgeon saw all the mucus and picked the cystic fibrosis straight away. And then we had a confirmed diagnosis in about 2 weeks after my parents both did blood tests for genetic testing. I also had that done, and I had a sweat test because we have very high levels of sodium in like our sweat, our tears, so that came back high. So that were pretty much all the indicators to confirm diagnosis.
You haven't really known any different, really?
Yeah, exactly. I guess my whole life has been in and out of hospital, appointments on top of appointments, medication for days.
Yeah, talk us through that process from what you remember, like obviously when you first remembered going through this to now.
A lot of them are actually quite good memories. I've always been very lucky to have a very good support system around me socially. Friends, family would always visit me in hospital. Even like my mum was really worried about me going to childcare or to school, but my teachers were always amazing in making sure I took my tablets. And I remember I would keep my lunchbox on the teacher's desk to make sure it didn't go missing and my medication didn't go missing. So yeah, just a lot of memories. They're quite good ones. And even staying in hospital, obviously as a child you stay at the children's, so there's a lot of fun things to do there. Like there's the Starlight Room, there's the clown doctors. So definitely a lot of my memories are surrounded with that, but there's good connotations to them, not bad ones.
Yeah. And how many times were you going to the hospital? What did that look like?
Oh, so I would say I was going into hospital probably once a year at least for my childhood. And then from about the age of 13 or 14, I was going into hospital roughly every 2 months. We just figured out that was the best way to sort of keep me well and stable to be able to get through school and then eventually get through university and now with work. So yeah, I was probably in hospital every 8 weeks, and then I would be in hospital for about 2 weeks. Looked at maybe like 6 to 7 admissions a year.
And what would they do there? What kind of treatment was involved?
A lot of physiotherapy. So a big part of physiotherapy was definitely physical activity, cardio, because like the muscles are the lungs are a muscle. So the way you might work your biceps to strengthen them, you would need to do the same for your lungs. So a lot of physical activity to keep them working, also to physically release the mucus off our chest. And also chest physiotherapy, so a lot of nebulizers, inhaling of medications, and then also a mix of oral and IV antibiotics. So a lot of that time really was just sitting in bed and sleeping and recovering, because when you do have chest infections constantly, your body is using a lot more energy to fight those off.
As a child, 12, 13 years of age, that must have been hard at the time for you. How did you cope with that?
There were times where it was difficult. I think it would have been even more in high school. I started to realize the social effect it had on me, like, you know, missing birthday parties and missing like school formals and things like that due to being in hospital. That's probably when it hit a little bit harder. And even going into early adulthood now, like I've missed friends' weddings from being too unwell in engagements. So that is definitely something you have to learn to deal with and cope with. That can be almost sad, really.
At the moment, you probably still get the good days and bad days.
Yeah.
What are the difference between those days?
Most of my bad days would depend on how I'm feeling. So if I'm having a day where I'm a bit more tired, I'm a bit more out of breath, and just like everything's that little bit harder to do, I notice how much that will affect me mentally. And then just being, I guess, like low moods, quite flat. The second my physical health is good, I'm a whole new person, like 100%, the mood's better, the motivation to do things, just like more energy. So yeah, they very much of two ends of the spectrum, and you don't always know when a good or a bad day's coming, which sucks a bit. Like I could be fine one day, then wake up the next day and just be really sick really instantly. So yeah, that can also get a bit mentally exhausting, I think, like trying to keep up with how my body's going to feel that day.
You work in healthcare, you're a CA at Wellbeing Chiropractic, and how do you go about those days? I mean, you're dealing with patients coming in through the door who are sometimes in pain and unwell, and they don't even know that you're tired and you're fatigued. How do you show up for patients when they come in?
The most important thing is I definitely try not to bring like my personal stuff into work. At the end of the day, when I come into work, I'm there to do my job and I am there for our patients. And I think another big thing is I can empathise really well with people. Like if they say, oh, like I've got a really sore back, like I can completely agree with that and totally understand where they're coming from. So yeah, very much I would like try to separate. There are days where, you know, they might not be having a good day, they bring it out on you and that can affect you and your mood as well, but it's just going to be like water off a duck's back and just like keep moving on.
It just goes to show no one really knows what the other person's going through, and you've just got to try and be kind and compassionate with everyone that you meet. How has this, I guess, changed your outlook on health in general by going through something like this?
Massively. Like obviously I think everyone knows to an extent how important sort of healthcare and stuff, but how important healthcare is. But when it does like affect you on a personal level, like you have more respect for it and there's more of an importance. I saw a chiropractor for like majority of my life because due to the lung infections and the weakened lung function, it causes like really bad posture, a lot of hunching. So then that has obviously affected me over the years with back pain, neck pain. So I've seen chiropractor for a long time for just that maintenance, and especially when you spend so much time in hospital and you're in a bed for so long, it can cause a lot of sort of back and neck issues, even like the hips, like pretty much everything. So I definitely think chiropractic care is super important, and not just for me, but just for everyone in general, especially with like office jobs, and I have an office job. So yeah, definitely I find healthcare due to personal experience like very important.
With patients that I've seen with cystic fibrosis, they had an enormous amount of postural fatigue, postural strain.
Yeah.
Their rib cage just wasn't moving as well as it could because of how much coughing is happening, the hospitals, the beds, and like yourself, the more stress you put your body under, the more you need it. Now you've got an office job as well, so you're sitting most of the time.
Yeah.
But it goes a long way to get joints moving, get them adjusted.
Exactly. Improving your range of motion, like all those things, it genuinely makes a difference to then, you know, you get an adjustment, it loosens you up a little bit, and then I'll go to bed and I'll just stiffen up again that night because that's just how my body works. But the next day I'm that little bit better versus if I hadn't had an adjustment. So definitely try to get adjusted as often as I am at work.
And it's not something that's a treatment for cystic fibrosis or it's going to cure it, but it's just definitely going to make your life that bit easier.
It helps those symptoms that little bit more. And yeah, exactly, like it's not necessarily a medication or an antibiotic, but it is just those small things that help us to get to that better quality of health.
And you were talking about before about your support system. Who does that involve now?
Honestly, my mum has always been my rock. Like, wouldn't know what I would have done without her. Even now, I'm like living with my partner now. I've moved out of home, and still, like, she'll call me multiple times a day, even if it's just to like see how I'm going. Always offers to like come and clean my house, like asks if I'm too tired to do so. So definitely my partner is amazing. He, again, don't know what I would do without him now. Like, he's basically my carer now that I've moved out of home, and again, just like an angel. And then my sister as well, like sister, best friend, built-in one. Even now, don't live at home anymore, but she too will still call me all the time. And in hospital, will just like come and visit me all the time. Even before she had her license, she would catch transport. So they're definitely like my 3 biggest support people.
That's amazing. And it is so important to have a support system in life for any reason, let alone when you've got a health condition that you have to live with.
Funnily enough, growing up having cystic fibrosis and knowing my life expectancy was only maybe like 40 or 50 at the time. I was always very much like, I don't want a relationship. I didn't really care too much about my future, I guess. I was a very much live now and live in the moment type of person. And to an extent, I definitely still am. But then when I came across my partner and met him, it completely changed my outlook on life. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I could see myself having a future with this person. Like, I want to get married one day. I want to have kids one day. Like, we wanted to buy a house. So having CF definitely gave me a life that I imagined, which maybe wasn't the one I wanted, but it was the one that fit with my reality and just made sense. And then, yeah, like having those support systems in life, and not to get too dark, but like, you know, then you imagine your future and you like one day will miss those people, and you don't want to let those people down. So definitely might take better care of myself and make sure I do all my treatment and my meds because then it makes you like look forward to your future.
How has having that support system shaped your priorities?
My main priorities now is I just want to stay well and even just continue working and making money to have a future with my partner, whether that involves marriage or kids one day, like whatever the future has in store for us. Like, my main priority now is not just quality, but it is also quantity. Like, I definitely am pushing to like pass that life expectancy point now, whereas before I didn't have that. I didn't care, essentially.
It's interesting how you can go from just living in the moment, not thinking about the future, to now planning, preparing yourself for the future. I think that's really inspiring.
Yeah.
And you do have an inspiring story. So thank you for sharing that with us. You've also got your own Instagram for your journey, right?
Yes. So in COVID, I thought, let's start documenting this journey, because not a lot of people do know about cystic fibrosis, and I felt like a lot of my generation didn't know what it was, or if they knew me and knew I had it, they didn't know how it affected my life. And obviously through COVID times and being immunosuppressed, we were always on high alert, and I had to take lockdown very seriously. So I thought, you know what, let's document this journey and just help with people's awareness and knowledge about cystic fibrosis a little bit more. 5 years later, this Instagram has honestly just taken off. I have met other people with cystic fibrosis, not just all over Australia, but all over the world. Some people who attend the same clinic as me, but you may not always cross paths. And yeah, I just feel like I've expanded so many more people's knowledge on it. And I feel like awareness is the most important thing with cystic fibrosis. If there isn't awareness, how are people meant to know that it exists and we need to donate and get funding for more research and more treatment options? So yeah, I've been very lucky to do articles with 9 Honey and the Daily Mail, and I just feel really honoured, and I just think it's really special that I'm able to be a voice for other people who do suffer from this disease, and yeah, expand the knowledge and awareness about it, because without that, then we're not going to be able to all have those futures and have those new treatment options to be able to focus on our goals.
And for those who want to follow your journey more or just learn more about cystic fibrosis, where can they find you?
So they can find me on Instagram at chronically__Caitlyn. Someone took one underscore, so we had to add 2 in there.